Alright, everyone who suggested this, step up to the front. Come on, don't be shy. What do you think I'm running around here? A circus? I am a horror channel. Horror if you're being pretentious. I don't do comedies. You still don't. This is classified as a found footage horror movie. It is? Yeah, look at Rotten Tomatoes' top 100 found footage movies. Oh wow, yeah, number 8. Gotta say, this list is much better than IMDb's. Did you know they have the gallows on their list? Did we watch the same movie? Today's movie of choice is titled Deadstream, released in 2022. This is the first movie we're doing that's a little more modern, as in released in the last few years. We're a social media influencer by the name of Sean Ruddy, who in fact is played by Joseph Winter, one of the writers and directors of this film, along with his wife Vanessa Winter. That's like super awesome. A couple who scares together, stays together, decides to stay the night in a rumored haunted house for clicks and views, while being live the entire time. When I first saw the front cover of this movie and read the synopsis, this was not the vibe I was expecting, but I was pleasantly surprised. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's check out the hilarious horror roller coaster that is Deadstream. Let's get into it. We start off with an intro from Sean that accurately describes his character, a piece of trash. This guy is the epitome of those YouTubers slash streamers who do extremely dumb shit to get clicks. Putting yourself in a garbage can to get picked up by an actual garbage truck, sledding in nothing but your underwear, throwing marshmallows at a cop while calling him a douchebag. Very dumb activities. And after all those stunts and controversies, what does he do? Open up a coffee shop? No, apology video. The infamous apology video. Now everything's solved. He's got his sponsors back. He's monetized again. The world is right.
Not.
As these dumb stunts were Sean facing his fears, he has one left that he must conquer: ghosts. He's gonna be staying in the rumored haunted Death Manor, which, I mean, it has death in the name. You know what, forget it. He's going in there with holy water and a PB&J, and he thinks that's enough. Well, he also has a crucifix, salt, and a dagger, but that's besides the point. That PB&J looking real good, though. James here. Greaves wrote this script while he was hungry. He has since eaten. Why are you talking like I'm not right here? That's so weird. I'm not used to you being over there. Also, him saying he doesn't care about money after doing a sponsor plug and flashing his merch all over the screen is pure gold. Sean has given himself one rule for this investigation. If he sees or hears anything unusual, he has to check it out. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's a big promise, Sean. Let's see if you stick to it. He'll be doing all this fun stuff on a platform called Livid, and considering his job is to piss people off, I couldn't think of anything more appropriate. It's game time, people, and oh. Well, that's a little sad, and it's not real. I'm mad because that's actually kind of clever. This man is just a walking ad. He's got charisma and all, but it's all attached to a fucking price tag. He's made it to Death Manor, and gotta say, the man has got some killer gear. Wrist-activated cameras, multiple ghost haunting gadgets, GoPros, the whole shebang. Now, he does something very stupid. Well, besides coming out here in the first place. He took the spark plugs out of his car, at least I think those are spark plugs, and throws them into the woods.
Why? 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 Why?
Why? Well, he says he's protecting himself from himself, taking away any sort of easy exit for himself, because he knows himself too well. Any sign of a real ghost and he runs out of this house and back to his car. Which, okay, fair. However, a little extreme, don't you think? What happens in the morning if you survive and now you're stuck out here because your spark plugs are lost in the woods? I bet the ghosts have a field day when they see people like this. Dumb influencers looking to get clicks. That's an easy body right there. Sean starts to give us the backstory on Death Manor. It was built in 1880 by a wealthy Mormon pioneer. He built this place for his daughter Mildred, who was a poet and unfortunately a social outcast. Even more unfortunate, she ended up committing suicide, being one of the first people documented to have lost their lives in this house. Oh, and you guys have to hear Sean scream.
Maybe it was also a stick man. That is some satanic Wiccan crap.
Don't know how you guys satanic from a stickman with a hat on it, but if that's the case, I'm going to hell for all those stickman animations I watched as a kid. Throughout his walkthrough, Sean is placing some GoPros down. They also happen to be motion activated, so that'll be fun. He breaks into this place with a crowbar, and for some reason he just leaves it on the ground. That's a weapon. I don't know what kind of spirits we're dealing with yet, but if they can be harmed, that's a nice thing to have, don't you think?
Spiders!
I'd be lying if I said that wasn't my exact reaction to seeing a spider. Same scream and everything. This place is, wow, this is creepy for sure. Remember how Sean did that one stupid thing earlier with the spark plugs? Well, you'll never guess, but he does something even more stupid.
Oh my god! Wow!
He locks himself in here and then slips the key into a little vent. Once again, what happens if you survive? Also, if you're gonna do this, then why throw away your spark plugs? You're gonna bust your way out of a different exit and leave that way if you get too scared? I mean, he's done crazier things. I wouldn't put it past him. Sean says 11 more people in this house died before they boarded it up and marked it as abandoned in 1956. Sean goes to check his chat on the tablet he's been carrying around, and they are frying the shit out of him.
Kai Guy 5, did kids call you Crater Face in high school? No, because in high school it was still acne.
And then heroin needles? I'm sorry, what needles? Great, now I'm demonetized. Then he pulls out a map of this place, and what is that? That's your map? The irony of him being so prepared with fancy motion cameras, crowbars, and ghost equipment, just for his map to be some shit he probably drew in 3 seconds. Sean is going to be monitoring 3 different rooms, all confirmed to have paranormal activity that has occurred in them. First is the master bedroom. Wish some paranormal activity could happen in my bedroom. I'm not even going to ask what you think that means. So in this room, there have been sightings of what Sean has dubbed as the corner man. Is Photoshop in the room with us? house. That doesn't look the best. Although I'm starting to realize that when people are doing world building in a found footage movie and they show us a picture, it's either going to look obviously photoshopped or like the actors just took a picture behind the scenes and they said, fuck it, let's use that. A guy named Max Lolan wrote about the corner man, saying he would dream about waking up and seeing a very tall man in the corner of his room. He couldn't see his face, but he knew for a fact he was there. A year later, Max would pass away in his sleep. In this very room. Ooh, spooky, I guess. Even more spooky, some paranormal investigators from the 90s took a pic in this room and captured this. Okay, so either Max was a liar or very short, because that guy doesn't look that tall. After hearing a loud thud, Sean heads out.
Lily King 98. Sean, please do the right thing and help the spirits of this house find rest. Hell no! I'm not an exorcist, Lily King 98.
I mean, he is right. He's not an exorcist. He's a dumbass. Although another way of letting the spirits rest is to not be live streaming in their house. He gets to the bottom of the stairs and he says at the very top, this is where Mildred hung herself. Now, Mildred was an outcast in every sense of the word. Her entire town wasn't a fan of her, and her weird poems, as they called them. Her dad had this entire manor built for her. Sean's theory is that maybe her father thought it would attract the husband, but I don't know. I felt this may have been a way of banishing her in a sense. Like, look, no one likes you. Go sit in this house I built you in the woods so we don't have to look at you. Which sounds messed up, but you'd be surprised how harsh a human can be.
As creepy as the corner man stuff is, it's the second floor that's the real paranormal G-spot of this house.
Did he just say paranormal G-spot? I don't know if I want to steal that or forget I heard it completely. Sean is about to head into the nursery where 3 babies and 2 toddlers have died. He then plays us some footage from the 90s. I'm assuming this may be those same ghost hunters that Sean mentioned before. But besides that, please tell me they aren't using a literal child for their paranormal investigation and her father is the one trying to convince her to go inside this room and the worst dad of the year award goes to. But good on little Jessica here, that's her name, cause she ain't going. Her dad tries to bribe her with ice cream and she looks at him angrily and runs away. Not because of the ice cream thing, but because...
Oh, we can get ice cream after. Jessica!
They told me it's not my room.
Who told you that?
Well, I've learned that whenever a child starts to hear or see anything in a rumored haunted place, it's no longer a rumor. This place is haunted as shit. Even Sean is like he doesn't condone the use of kids while investigating stuff like this. Good on you, Sean. At least you have some morals left. Okay, so this next part isn't bad. Like, nothing insane happens, but I should have gave you a warning at the beginning of this video. Unless you have a good stomach and nothing bothers you, lucky. But Sean enters the bathroom and the tub is smeared in this nasty looking brown substance. Is it poop? I don't know. Probably so. Doesn't look pleasant either way. But I warn you, things will only get worse from here. Sean plays us an EVP that some other investigators caught on camera. You can make out the words mama and pond water, which pond water could be significant because that was in Max's journal from earlier. That's what the not so tall corner man would say in his dreams. Sean's chat doesn't seem too convinced, but what can you do? Mildred did end up finding someone though. A rich publisher from the east came to her town and they fell in love. For 2 years they would write each other love letters. I do wonder, Mildred still ended up killing herself, so I wonder when and how things went sour. There's a room upstairs that has no reported paranormal activity, so Sean sets up his home base in there.
A closet! Oh no, ghost slug closets!
The exact reason why I don't sleep with my closet door open. And anyone who does is a psychopath. Comment down below if you sleep with any of your doors open in your bedroom. I need to know who to stay away from. He goes to check the closet, but nothing's there. Except for this thing on the wall, which Sean just assumes is something evil. And speaking of leaving doors open, he sure is comfortable leaving the door to this room wide open while he's facing away from it. His viewers are getting restless, so to keep their attention, he spins a wheel of stupid things to do. Should have added throwing your spark plugs into the woods and discarding your key to that wheel. It lands on seance. I bet one of the ghosts just did a backflip hearing that. Sean cops out though and says he gets to choose the room he does the seance in, which sounds like a Sean thing to do. But even more interesting, we get more Mildred lore. The guy she fell in love with was named Lars. As mentioned before, they wrote each other love letters for 2 years, and Lars ended up asking Mildred to marry him. And then he died suddenly 2 days before they were supposed to move. Damn, poor Mildred. She lived in this house all alone, was outcasted from her town, and she finally finds a guy who has any sort of interest in her and he kicks the bucket. Well, that's just depressing. Sean heads into the nursery and for some reason he decides to check under this bed unprovoked. He just starts digging for stuff, and then he finds a creepy little doll.
Oh, no way! Oh, somebody look this up and find a year on this thing. And the going price on eBay.
This man never stops thinking about money. Kids, once again, don't be this type of influencer. He sets the doll up and begins his seance, and the house begins to creak. He hears a loud bang and screams and runs back to the safe room. He says he felt some sort of vibration in his chest and his eyes roll back and he starts to twitch and choke, but it just turns out to be a joke. He's all like, I got you, didn't I? No, Sean, no you did not. He proceeds to take a leak, a very long one by the way, all while humming to himself, and then his chat starts to erupt with messages saying how a ghost was caught on camera. He goes to check the footage and there is indeed an apparition walking into one of the rooms. All of a sudden he hears hears rumbling outside of the door, and then he runs to the closet and hides under this dirty ass sheet. His chat tells him to remember his rules and stop being a wuss. He psychs himself into going into the hallway. He hears bumping and thumping, and then one of the doors off to the side opens by itself. Then he hears running, like full on running in that room. Sean screams and books it back to the safe room. He barricades himself with a dresser and then waits for his impending doom. But when the door finally opens, it's a girl? This is Chrissy. I have a bad history with Chrissy's. Anyway, she turns out to be a super fan of Sean. She geeks out that she was actually able to find him. He's a little taken aback, but he's happy to see another human. Sean takes a second to sit back and process the whole thing. Chrissy really wants to stay, but Sean isn't so sure about it. In fact, he actually starts to grab his stuff and is about to leave. That is until Chrissy tells him to check his engagement on his stream. Damn, 3.9 million viewers? Even with that, Sean still isn't on board with Chrissy staying. So he makes a poll on it, and her staying wins by a landslide. Sean doesn't think it'll be as scary with 2 people here, but no one in his chat cares. Except for the person who says never trust a pretty girl, she's gotta go. Damn, who hurt my mans? After more thinking, Sean says they'll stay. He hooks her up with a GoPro while misspelling her name at first and then puts it on her head. We are now officially a party of 2, and I'm not talking about the rap group. They walk down the hall, Chrissy facing one way and Sean facing the other. Sean doesn't seem to be a fan of suggestions, like Chrissy telling him where he should investigate and that he should act a little more excited that she's here for the fans, and he's not having any of it. This is a result of someone not being used to second opinions, or just having a bunch of yes men around you. They make it back to the first room Sean went into when they told us the story of Max and his nightmares. However, he turns around and Chrissy is nowhere to be found. He yells her name a couple times and then checks her camera. He sees himself and he snaps back up and she's right in the corner. He gets mad and yells at her and tells her no more splitting up. He starts to look under the bed and he hears Chrissy scream, therefore causing him to scream, and she says she heard something.
I'ma kill her. Before this night is over, I'ma kill Christy.
Still pronouncing her name wrong, douchebag. Sean goes to check and it just sounds like mice. But with further inspection, he finds a wall with a hole in it and it reveals a hidden room. Chrissy suggests they go down there and he's like, that would be so stupid, and then proceeds to go down there. It seems to be an old cellar. Chrissy finds a chest in the corner and it has old clothes and stuff in there. They also find a miniature chest, and $sign Sean's first assumption is that there's money in there. Chrissy's no better. She just takes the necklace that was in there and puts it around her neck. There's also a secret compartment in the chest and he finds a little book. Sean gets excited when he thinks it's Mildred's journal, but it just turns out to be a book full of her poems. Well, damn, Sean, not interested in hearing the thoughts of a tortured poet? And then he points out that they don't even rhyme. Well, sorry, dude, we're not in the haunted house of fucking Dr. Seuss. And I learned at a young age that not all poems are supposed to rhyme. Sean notices a mummified animal on the ground. Gross. They both freak out and head back upstairs. Somebody in his chat suggests he spin the wheel again. Sean is a little more excited to spin this time due to his discovery of the hidden room and Mildred's old stuff on top of that. He tells Chrissy she can spin it, finally pronouncing her name correctly, and it lands between EVP and Spirit Board. Sean tells her to spin again, but she says it landed on both for a reason. They should do both. Sean looks a little irritated, but he doesn't fight and takes both things out of the bag. Chrissy suggests he read the poems out loud, but he says no and calls them boring, which she gets a little defensive about. Sean is still being a brat, saying how this is his show and he'll do things his way. So they place both their hands on the poem book and the Ouija board. Sean really doesn't do much though. He's like, yeah, we want to talk to the children's spirits, not the tall, slendy ones. And then he passes it over to Chrissy. What was the point of you yelling at her earlier about this being your show, only for you almost to immediately pass it over to her? Kudos to Chrissy though, because she really gets into it. A little too into it, actually. It's kind of creepy. Sean starts talking to the spirits once again, but nothing happens. Chrissy then tells him about a chant, which at first he's not going to say it because he doesn't like saying things when he doesn't know the meaning of them. So she tells him this.
Okay, I don't know like the literal translation, but basically it's an offering of peace to those who may not be at peace.
Okay, sounds harmless for the most part. They say the full chant and then they hear a loud noise upstairs. The motion sensors seem to have picked something up in the bathroom. Sean comes up with some bullshit cop out for why he shouldn't be the one to go up there. Chrissy tells him not to worry and that she has a feeling he won't be scared anymore soon. Whatever the hell that means. One thing leads to another and Chrissy agrees to go check it out by herself, while Sean stays back and keeps watch. We can still see Chrissy's POV and Sean starts to play some music from his cassette player, which I haven't mentioned it yet, but the composition for this movie is really good. Another fun fact, that was also done by Joseph here. He composed the entire soundtrack. That is really impressive. Sean hears another noise, this time in the opposite direction, and the planchette is moved off the board. He checks Chrissy's camera, but she's gone dark. He runs upstairs to check, but she's once again disappeared into thin air. This place looks gross. I'm sure he planned on staying up all night on stream, because I have no idea how he would have got any sleep in a place like this. Especially without today's sponsor, Manta Sleep. That's right, you know him by now. Manta Sleep's premium sleep masks have been a necessity for me to get a good night's sleep, especially with all these horror movies I've been watching every week. Their masks are 100% blackout, that way you don't get that pesky sun peeking into your window waking you up every morning. I personally requested their silk sleep mask. Feels premium, soft to the touch, and pleasant on my face while I'm snoring the night away. They make masks for cooling, masks for keeping your face warm, weighted masks, masks with literal Bluetooth speakers built into them. They make pads for cooling your eyes, and white noise machines. That white noise machine is goated. I use it every night. And even masks for the kiddos. Can't get little Billy to go to sleep? Put this on him. Boom, out like a light. Listen, they've appeared on the channel more than once, and I wouldn't tell you about a product I don't personally enjoy. Manta Sleep is the real deal. Click my link down in the description below and use code GRIEVES to get 10% off at checkout. Grievous. That's GRIEVES for 10% off at checkout. And thank you, Man to Sleep, for sponsoring today's video. See, Sean, that's how you do a sponsorship. All right, now back to the video. All of a sudden, she pops up and scares him, and this time he's actually pissed. He goes off on her, telling her she's uninvited from this haunt, and that he's gonna go to the safe room by himself and figure out a way to exorcise dead children, which is not meant to be funny, but actually made me laugh. What a surprise. Oh, don't start with me. We all know I have some screws loose. I'm not even fully convinced if you're real or not. James? 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 Nah, just kidding. I'm right here. Ugh, don't do that. You almost gave me an attack of heart. You mean a heart attack? Anyway, Sean starts asking some really good questions. Where she goes when she disappears like that, how she knows where to hide, how she even got in this place to begin with. He locked the front door, and she says through a window, but Sean's not buying it. He starts to think she's not some big fan, but a stalker freak as he calls it. Like I said earlier, Sean says he's gonna go figure out a way to exorcise the ghost kids, when in reality he was just gonna use Google. Yeah, let's see that AI overview of how to properly exorcise the ghost of little Timmy. Chrissy tells him she doesn't think that's a good idea. And this is when this movie turns into fucking Resident Evil Village. When Sean asks why, she laughs like a DC villain and then launches towards his neck, actively munching on his shit. He grabs a nearby wooden stake out of the wall and drives it through the side of her neck. And RIP to Chrissy. Well, actually, it's not that simple. Let's take a breather, cause shit has went from, as the kids call it, 0 to 100 real quick. Chrissy here, not really named Chrissy. Who is she, you ask? We're about to find out, but baby steps. Let's start back at square one. She attacks Sean. Sean drives this thing through the side of her neck. She's on the floor bleeding out, and now she's dead. Sean freaks out and tells someone to call the police because he just killed a woman in front of millions of people. He tells his stream where he is and that he'll turn himself in. He duct tapes his neck wound, which is not sanitary, but whatever. He exclaims this was an accident, and really it was just self-defense. And he's got a point. She was chain chomping on his shit. He goes back into the hallway, but she's gone. The only thing left is a blood puddle on the floor, and the blood trail is leading to the nursery. He goes up to the door, but he's too scared to open it, so he tells Chrissy he'll leave a first aid kit on the floor. Yeah, I'm sure that'll help with the giant piece of wood in her neck. He hears some wild noises on the roof, and then he runs back to the safe room. He checks the hallway cam, and it's someone hanging near the stairs. Mildred. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Sean goes to run into the closet, and then one of his viewers sends him a video. It's a young boy, basically telling Sean in the nicest way possible he fucked up. The thing he destroyed earlier that was hanging in the closet, oh yeah, he destroyed that by the way, was actually to ward off the evil. And Sean's dumbass destroying it unleashed whatever evil was in this house. Him assuming everything was evil and satanic cost him his life. And in the midst of this, someone is asking for a birthday shout out. That's actually hilarious. Sean decides he'll try to squeeze past her and get down the stairs. He goes into the hallway and eases his way towards the hanging body, which you can only see on camera by the way. In reality, you can't see anyone there. He stops looking at the tablet to look right in front of him, and it's Chrissy? Oh, Chrissy is Mildred. If I had $1 for every time I say the sentence and they were dead the whole time, but in reality, this was the only thing I remembered about this movie. Yeah, the twist wasn't a twist for me. Sorry to burst your bubble. Also, remember how I said if you had a weak stomach to be weary? Yeah, it's about to get gross in here. Mildred attacks Sean and strangles him near unconscious, then shoves her extremely long fingernail up his nose. Ew. Anything to do with things going up the nose or the ear, I'm out. Oh yeah, and the belly button for some reason. It just makes me feel queasy. Sean wakes up and gets her off him by tossing her down the stairs. He lifts the grate up where he slid his key through, and he grabs it and realizes this is not the same key he threw down there. Oh yeah, and then he pulls Mildred's fingernail out of his nose. Yeah, I didn't need to keep the food I ate in my belly. You can have it. One of his viewers suggests he use the key he found to open up that little box that was in the chest with Mildred's stuff. In there, we find a picture confirming what we already knew. Chrissy is Mildred and Mildred is Chrissy. He also finds a wicked ass severed finger of some sorts. At least I think it's a severed finger. His viewers tell him to get out of the house through the window upstairs and use the rope nearby. While he's grabbing that though, he hears another noise off in the distance. And when he peeks, well, let me just show you. What the fuck was that? No, seriously, what was that? Was that a stalker from Half-Life 2? And he left his crowbar outside. Would have been essential right about now. Sean squeals and runs upstairs. He heads into the nursery and ties the rope to the bed frame. Then he ties the rope to himself. As he's doing that though, he hears something make a noise under the covers on the bed. We don't see what it is, however, because Sean's fight or flight kicks in. He also funnily forgot he was tied to the bed. He unties himself, and now we're once again back in the closet. Another one of his viewers sends him a video, and it's a lady who just happens to be a Latin professor. Turns out that Chrissy, or I guess Mildred, lied to him. That chant he said earlier wasn't to help the spirits move on. He was giving his soul away. One of the lady's children says their theory is that everyone who lived in that house was slowly driven crazy by Mildred, eventually making all of them say the same chant that he said, and even worse, making them kill themselves. Oh boy, Sean, you're in deep shit now. One of his viewers thinks this may be karma for what he did. See, earlier when he spoke about his apology and how he was able to get monetized again, he had did some dumb stunt to put a homeless guy in the hospital. And then also someone mentions racism. Something you want to tell us, Sean? But before he could really address that, he hears a noise, and then, you know what, I can't describe it in words, so watch this.
Guilty! How did all y'all suckers get in my room, and what are you doing under my desk? You trying to get freaky or what?
What type of fan-ass timing is Mildred on? And I'm not talking about an admirer or the thing that blows air. I'm talking about a freaky-ass Nick. So Sean jumps out of the window. Did I miss something? He comes to and ooh. He puts the tiniest swab of alcohol on it and then you guessed it, more duct tape. He runs to his car, but remember those spark plugs from earlier? You know, the ones you threw into the woods? You gotta look for those now. He ends up finding one and then he finds the other one and is that a gargoyle? What in the hell type of spirits are trapped here? Oh, thank God, a police officer.
But I really don't like it when you hurt people, Sean.
No.
You really shouldn't hurt people, Sean.
Oh, come on. Now that I think about it, he does look like one of those old-timey sheriffs. Sean kicks him in the nuts and runs to his car. He tapes a GoPro to his Slim Jim and sticks it out the window. And my boy is on the ground doing the Harlem Shake. Turns out that was Max Lowland, the same Max Lowland we learned about earlier, who had those reoccurring dreams about the tall man in the corner. One of his viewers sends him another video and it's some guy's grandma. Turns out she was actually a nanny in this house when she was 15 years old. Holy crap. She was the one who made the Hamsa upstairs. That thing that Sean found in the closet that wards off evil spirits. And when she finds out he destroys it, this is her reaction.
He destroyed the Hamsa, Grandma.
Oh, shit. He's gonna die.
For him to make a new Hamsa, it requires a sacrifice of the flesh. But before Sean can even process that, the car starts to shake. He goes to look for a weapon, and I feel like a broken record here, but that crowbar was a good weapon, Sean. He does, however, find the tater gun. It shoots potatoes. Potatoes that he doesn't have. Great. He does find a little Sean bobblehead. Well, it's better than nothing. He loads the gun up, but zombie cop outside has disappeared. He then crashes through the window behind Sean. Sean gets out through the other side and shoots him through the chest with the tater gun. And he dies? Or re-dies? Undies? You know what? Forget it. He's down for the count. Not before sliding his slimy undead body down the barrel of the gun. Gross. But even worse, Sean's tablet is shattered to all hell. No more live cam feed, and no more seeing his chat. He runs back to his car and starts to really think. Maybe this is karma. Sean expresses how he really doesn't want to go out being known as a douchebag. He says sorry, like a genuine sorry. By the way, while he's saying this, he doesn't even know if he's still streaming or not. He attempts to leave a note in a little poem book and a little piece of paper slips out, titled The Unholy Hand of Power. Sean theorizes this may be what Mildred did to sell her soul to the devil. But my question is, why? Why did Mildred turn to selling her soul to the devil? Was she promised something in return? I guess we'll find out. Sean reads one of her poems and once again sees the words, "The pond water is still." That was what the not so tall man in the corner kept saying to Max Lowland, and what those paranormal investigators heard on their EVP recording. It seems that Mildred is forcing the ghost to memorize her poems. Her asking Sean to recite her poems, her fiance being a publisher. Sean theorizes that she just wanted an audience, not a family. But I feel like she wanted both. For people to appreciate her artistry, and a family to call her own in death that she never had in life.
She's like me. She wants an audience. She kept trying to get me to read her poems. She's not creating a family. She's building a following. And I bet the more souls she collects, the more powerful she becomes. And what can hurt someone like me? Copy strike. A copy strike!
You mean copyright strike? I mean, he essentially said the same thing, he's just missing a word. Unless the words copyright strike are copyrighted, therefore I just got a copyright strike for using those words, which means I just got another copyright strike for saying it again. Will you stop being stupid and finish the movie? All right. Sean figures he has to give Mildred her own version of a copy strike, which means repeating the same unholy hand ritual that she did. In hopes that he's still streaming, he tells the internet to decipher this Latin, so he knows what words to say for the ritual. He muscles up for once and heads back into the house, this time more determined. He even crafts himself a weapon, and also uses one of those heroin needles to put holy water in it, and he proceeds to head upstairs. He makes it back to the safety room, and Lord behold, he's still streaming. Also, Sean, seriously, you're gonna keep leaving the door behind you wide open? At least turn the desk around so you're facing it. Also, not the first comment being the police don't think this is real, sorry. I mean, I don't blame them. Trying to explain to them that a streamer I'm watching is in a haunted house and is being attacked by ghosts? Good luck with that. One of his viewers has successfully translated the words for the ritual. He takes a piece of chalk and begins to draw out a new Hamsa. While doing this, he begins to apologize, like genuinely. He's known for a while that the stunts he's been pulling weren't morally right. His hunger for views and money drove him to do all this dumb stuff. He then apologizes to the minorities for that whole smuggling across the border stunt thing he did, and then he dedicates his stream to the blacks and Mexicans. Alright, well, he's still got some learning to do, but at least his heart's in the right place, I think. He then tapes one of his GoPros to the end of that makeshift spear he made earlier, and heads out into the hallway again. He goes into the nursery, and there's actually a child in there. I think I'm gonna be sick. What in the actual hell is that? Whose mans is this? He got the nerve to be laughing like something's funny. I must have missed the punchline. Sean rightfully freaks the hell out when he sees this, and he runs out of the room. He then yells for Mildred, telling her to show herself instead of sending her goons after him. He checks the camera and sees the corner man thing. I wonder why some ghosts appear in person and others only appear on camera. Maybe they just decide where they want to manifest. Sean turns around and starts poking at the air, and he actually lands a jab. Although he celebrates a little too early, and corner man takes the spear from him and jabs him in the leg. And then Sean throws garlic at him? Okay, so holy water I understand, but never really got the whole whole reason why he brought garlic. These are ghosts, not vampires. He runs into a nearby room and it starts banging on the door. The banging is then replaced with a soft knocking, and we hear Chrissy, aka Mildred, try to fake her way into the room.
Sean? Shauna, I'm scared. Help me. You hurt me real bad.
Sean doesn't fall for it though, so she does the next best thing. She turns his lights off. Through the darkness, we hear Mildred tell Sean she wants him to meet someone. And guys, last warning, it's about to get gross. Did I say Resident Evil Village earlier? I meant Resident Evil 7. This shit is nasty. So we get a pretty long moment of silence until the light turns back on and Sean's been vecna'd. Am I able to make that reference, or are people still mad at the ending? Sean is in a daze. He feels on top of the world. He's eating eyeballs out of the dirty tub water, everyone's dream. You can hear Mildred in the background giggling at the fact that she has a potential new soul or member of her family. Sean eventually does come out of this trance. He's then grabbed by the neck by whatever this is. You know, I say ghouls and goblins as a joke. I didn't think we'd actually get ghouls and goblins. Sean wrestles with this thing before injecting it with holy water, and then it explodes. Ew. Oh god, I think my breakfast is coming back up. Sean throws Mildred's poem book out into the hallway in hopes of catching her. It starts to move and Sean takes this opportunity to go out there and see if he can chop off a hand or two. But no, Mildred pulled a Batman and is on the damn ceiling. Sean gets the better of her and chops her in the head with a cleaver he took from downstairs, and she falls onto the ground. He puts a camera on her for if/when she gets back up, and he once again runs back into the safety room. Oh, what a surprise, she gets back up. Funnily enough, she grabs his cassette player and starts playing some spooky tunes. She walks into the room and she thinks she sees him behind the desk, but now who's been bamboozled? Sean pops up behind her and knocks her out with a chair. Good thinking, Sean. Keep in mind though, he doesn't put his pants or shoes back on for the rest of the movie. He drags her body into the middle of the new Hamza and duct tapes her to the floor. He starts to recite the words that his viewer translated, but for some reason it doesn't work. Mildred laughs and detaches herself from the floor and then mollywops Sean in the face. He falls to the ground and for some reason Mildred is digging for gold again. Is this how she takes souls? Sean takes her finger out and she extends it towards him. Batman, more like Mr. Fantastic. She takes a spray off his belt and sprays him in the eyes, and then proceeds to pimp slap him multiple times. This is actually funny. What's not funny is what she does next. She puts a towel over his face and proceeds to waterboard him with his own piss. What in the actual nasty ass shit am I watching right now? He rips the duct tape off her mouth and we see her true face. He gets her off of him and then proceeds to drop a cinder block on her leg. Now they're both crawling. It's a crawl chase. Forgot to mention, I'm pretty sure Mildred put her finger into Sean's leg wound to immobilize him. Sean sleds down the stairs with his book bag, and as he continues to crawl forward, he kind of gives up halfway through. He's throwing in the towel until he takes a look at Mildred's severed finger and remembers what that guy's grandma told him. A sacrifice of the flesh. Sean recites the words of the ritual again, but this time he cuts his finger off with the cleaver that was in Mildred's head, and she's banished back to hell, being submerged into a sea of blood. And then the hole explodes, spitting out blood everywhere. The amount of infections that Sean must have right now, and he still proceeds to put duct tape over his hand. Anyway, instead of doing the smart thing and immediately leaving this house, Sean sets up his laptop and addresses his audience. He gives a victory speech with music and everything, and he thanks everyone for being with him on this crazy ass ride. And it seems like he was actually able to overcome this house.
Not.
Sean expresses how he's the #1 streamer, but his finger's back? Oh no. These spirits are technically binded to him now, aren't they? That's not good. Sean tries to get out through the front door, but that gargoyle from earlier pops into the room and the stream cuts. And that, my friends, is Deadstream. Sean's fate is kind of left up for interpretation. Rather the ghost killed him or he's still alive and he's ruling over them as Mildred once did. Or maybe both. In the end, I think Deadstream is one of the more unique found footage movies to come out in the last few years. When I first read the synopsis of the movie, I thought it was going to be a more serious thing. A live streamer heads into a house looking for ghosts and ends up finding actual ghosts, which is what happens, but I wasn't expecting the comedic element it had. In a sense, I've seen this movie twice. The first time I watched it, I turned it off because it wasn't the vibe I was looking for at the time, but I ended up giving it a chance and I really enjoyed it. Sean was not a likable person by any means. I mean, he wasn't supposed to be. If he indeed wanted to change and not be remembered as a douchebag is up in the air. Maybe his feelings were genuine, but he got himself into a situation, mind you, of his own doing, and he was actually able to show that change. He never thought anything through, destroying the Hamza being his biggest mistake and what led to his demise. I did enjoy the aspect of Chrissy and her being Mildred the whole time. It was a nice twist. You would think the whole "and they were dead the whole time" thing would get old, but if you're able to execute it well, then I don't mind. Although you watch the reveal once and every time you rewatch the movie, it's super obvious that Chrissy is not who she says she is, especially with her getting so defensive when Sean dissed her poetry. I really like this one. The last act gets a little gross, and I've never been a fan of grotesque horror. Doesn't do anything for me, and it makes my stomach hurt. Have you seen Deadstream? If so, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. I think if you're in the mood for a good comedic horror movie, then this is definitely a nice recommendation. If not, check it out. But just know this is pretty much a comedy in a horror setting. We got a long list today, so bear with me. Acanalis, I probably didn't pronounce that right. Lil Joker 78, Dexter Chaos, Saul Govia 9648, Clab 9024, Hip 50 8825, Lord Phantom 3704, Hayden McIntosh 4905, Rathu McRat, nice, One Thick Boy, Mono Monster 69, T-Dog Michaela 9179, and Gabby Proot 9383 for being my most recent members. First members only video coming soon. I appreciate every single one of you. We're getting real close to 30,000 subscribers, which is insane. Can't thank you guys guys enough. My name is Greaves, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.